A single dad rescued a woman during dinner, and days later, her billionaire chauffeur appeared at his door. His daughter, Mia, sat on the booster seat across the table, swinging her legs happily and humming a tune she had made up. They were at Celestia's, one of the newest restaurants in the bustling spaceport city of Nova Zenith. The place was alive with lights that shimmered like distant stars, soft music from hovering speakers, and the faint scent of interstellar cuisine wafting in the air. It was rare for Aiden to treat Mia like this. Life as a single father had become a careful routine of work, school runs, and bedtime stories. He hadn't eaten out in months, partly because of work, partly because he wasn't sure he deserved a moment to relax. But tonight he decided they would have a simple evening, just the two of them. "Daddy, I want the floating chocolate cake." Mia's eyes sparkled as she pointed at the dessert menu. The cake was suspended in midair by a small anti-gravity plate, spinning slowly while dripping ribbons of rich chocolate. "You got it, kiddo," Aiden chuckled. "One floating chocolate cake coming right up." The waiter, a small robot with a polished chrome finish, glided toward their table, bowing politely. "Order received. Floating chocolate cake, extra sprinkles." Aiden smiled and finally relaxed, enjoying the rare sight of Mia giggling without a care in the world. Around them, the restaurant was full of travelers and locals, some human, some alien, all sharing meals and laughter in a surprisingly harmonious chaos. And then, something unusual happened. A sudden alarm echoed through the restaurant, a sharp, high-pitched ring that made Aiden tense instantly. He turned to see a young woman trapped in the anti-grav lift that floated above the main dining hall. Her hands clutched the edge of the small lift, her face pale with panic. "Help!" she shouted, her voice trembling. "It's stuck." Patrons around them froze, unsure of what to do. A few people pulled out their phones to record, but no one moved forward. Aiden's instincts kicked in immediately. He stood and whispered to Mia, "Stay here, okay? Watch your dessert." Mia nodded, wide-eyed but trusting. "Be careful, Daddy," she said softly. Aiden moved toward the lift, quickly analyzing the situation. The lift's anti-gravity field had malfunctioned, causing it to wobble dangerously above the crowded dining hall. The woman's panic was making it worse. Small, frantic movements were destabilizing the field. Aiden's hands went to the small control panel at the lift's side. He had seen enough engineering disasters in his previous life to know that hesitation could be deadly. The lift's manual override panel blinked erratically, lights flashing red. "Stay calm," Aiden muttered, more to himself than anyone else. "You've got this." He pressed a sequence of buttons, feeling for any resistance. Sparks flickered and the lift jolted slightly, sending a wave of panic through the nearby diners. The woman screamed again, gripping the edges. "It's okay, I've got you," Aiden shouted, reaching toward her. He extended a safety harness from his belt, a collapsible emergency strap that could attach to the lift and stabilize it. The woman's eyes widened as Aiden's hands moved quickly but confidently. "Hurry, it's moving," she cried. With one hand on the panel and the other securing the harness, Aiden managed to stabilize the lift just enough to lower it slowly toward a safe docking platform at the restaurant's side. Every second was tense. Diners gasped, some covering their mouths, others standing frozen, unable to help. Finally, with a soft thud and a few sparks, the lift landed safely. Aiden helped the woman out, keeping a firm grip on her arm. "You're okay," he said, exhaling in relief. "It's over." The woman stumbled back, catching her breath. Her dark hair fell across her face, and she looked up at Aiden with wide, grateful eyes. "Thank you. I don't know what would have happened if you weren't here," she said, her voice trembling but sincere. "You'd be fine now," Aiden replied with a small smile, brushing a smudge of dust from her sleeve. "Just try not to panic next time," she laughed nervously. "I'll try. I don't usually get stuck in malfunctioning lifts during dinner." Aiden's lips twitched in amusement. "You don't say." Nearby diners began clapping softly, some with awkward hesitation, some with genuine admiration. A few whispered comments about the heroics of a single father saving a stranger. Aiden felt an odd mix of embarrassment and pride. Mia clapped too, her small hands making a loud noise on the table. "Daddy's a hero," she exclaimed. Aiden winked at her, ruffling her hair. The woman's expression softened. I should get going, thank you again." She stepped toward the exit but stopped, turning back. "You really are something special. Not many people would do what you just did." Aiden shook his head, feeling slightly awkward. "Just doing what anyone would if they could. You're safe, that's all that matters." The woman smiled, then disappeared into the crowd, leaving Aiden standing there with Mia tugging at his sleeve. "Daddy, she was really scared," Mia whispered. "But you saved her." "I know, kiddo, I know," Aiden said, taking her hand again. They returned to their table, and soon the waiter robot delivered the floating chocolate cake, slightly charred from the commotion but still delicious. As they ate, Aiden couldn't shake a strange feeling. There was something about the woman, her poise, the quiet confidence in her eyes, that hinted she wasn't just an ordinary visitor. But he dismissed it. Some mysteries were not his concern, not tonight. Tonight was about Mia and chocolate cake. Still, even as they laughed over the dessert and shared quiet stories, Aiden couldn't help but glance toward the restaurant entrance every so often. The woman had vanished into the crowd, but a part of him felt that their paths weren't done crossing. The evening continued, with Aiden feeling a rare sense of peace. He talked with Mia about school, about her favorite toys, and even about the stars she loved to gaze at from their small balcony. The lights of the spaceport glittered outside, casting soft reflections on their table. And yet, somewhere deep down, Aiden knew life had a way of surprising you. Sometimes, heroes weren't just ordinary people. Sometimes, they were the ones who saved someone in the middle of a crowded restaurant, not expecting anything in return, only to have that small act ripple outward in ways they could never imagine. By the time they left, Aiden held Mia's hand tightly, feeling a bond stronger than ever. The night air of Nova Zenith was cool against his skin, and he could hear the faint hum of hovercars above. Life, for now, felt simple, safe, and beautiful. But across the city, in the shadow of gleaming towers, a man observed the incident through discreet surveillance channels. Aiden didn't know it yet, but the woman he saved was more than she seemed. And this man, tall, impeccably dressed, with an aura of quiet power, had already started making plans. Plans that would lead him straight to Aiden's doorstep. For Aiden Carter, a single father who just wanted a quiet evening with his daughter, life was about to become anything but ordinary. The morning sunlight streamed through the thin curtains of Aiden Carter's apartment, falling across the cluttered living room. Toys, scattered books, and a few mechanical parts he had been tinkering with were strewn about, giving the space a lived-in, chaotic charm. Mia bounced on the couch cushions, her hair messy from sleep, humming a tune she had made up just yesterday. Aiden, sipping his coffee, glanced at her with a soft smile. "Slow down, kiddo, you'll fall off the couch," Mia giggled, ignoring the warning. "I'm fine, Daddy. Look, I can spin." Aiden shook his head, amused, before setting the cup down. He had just begun to relax, thinking about last night's unexpected adventure at the restaurant, when a low hum reached his ears. It was faint at first, almost like a whisper carried by the morning breeze, but soon it grew louder, a sound unlike any normal vehicle he had ever heard. Before he could react, the sound became a steady, deep vibration outside the apartment. Aiden frowned and walked to the window. His breath caught in his throat. Below, in the small driveway of his building, hovered a sleek, black hover limo. Its surface reflected the sunlight like liquid obsidian. The car wasn't just high-end. It radiated an aura of precision and power, as if every curve and panel had been designed to intimidate subtly. "Daddy, what is that?" Mia asked, tugging at his sleeve. I don't know," Aiden replied cautiously. His military training and engineering instincts flared instantly. He noted the precision landing, the absence of any disturbance to the air around it, and the lack of visible wheels or conventional engines. This was no ordinary vehicle. The driver's side door opened and a man stepped out. He was tall, impeccably dressed in a dark tailored suit, his shoes polished to a mirror shine. His hair was jet black, and his posture suggested a calm, controlled strength that demanded attention. He didn't smile, yet there was an intensity in his gaze that made Aiden instinctively stand straighter. "I am Marcus Hale," the man said, his voice even, smooth, and confident. "I believe we have a mutual acquaintance." Aiden frowned. "Mutual acquaintance? I don't think I—" "Last night at Celestia's," Marcus interrupted politely, his eyes scanning the apartment briefly as if cataloging every detail. "You rescued Dr. Ilara Voss. I am her personal chauffeur and protector. She requested I find you." Aiden's jaw tightened. He had thought about the woman all day, her sharp eyes, her quick movements, her quiet confidence. But he hadn't imagined that her world would reach out to him so suddenly. She's okay?" Aiden asked cautiously, though the tone of Marcus's voice and the precision in his movements already told him the answer. "Yes," Marcus replied, inclining his head slightly. "Thanks to you, but there are complications." Aiden's mind raced. Complications? "What kind of complications?" he asked, setting Mia down on the floor so she could play nearby but keeping her within sight. Marcus's gaze softened almost imperceptibly. "Dr. Voss is a leading quantum physicist. Her work is highly sought after by certain organizations across the galaxy. There are those who would go to great lengths to acquire her research. You, Mr. Carter, have demonstrated skills that could be valuable in ensuring her safety." Aiden took a slow breath. "Wait, you're saying she's in danger, and somehow I'm involved?" Marcus nodded. "Yes. Your quick thinking last night proved that human ingenuity, creativity, instinct, and courage can make the difference where technology alone cannot. I need someone like you to help us." Aiden opened his mouth, unsure what to say. His life had always been predictable. Work, home, raising Mia. It was simple and quiet. But standing there in front of a man who seemed to command the air itself, he realized that last night had changed everything. "Why me?" he finally asked. "Because you saved her without hesitation," Marcus replied, his voice calm but unwavering. "That speaks volumes about your character, and in our situation, character matters as much as skill." Aiden shook his head. "I'm just a single dad. I work in engineering, I don't—" "You are more than that," Marcus interrupted. "I've observed many individuals. You notice details others miss. You act decisively under pressure. You consider the consequences. These are rare qualities, and they are exactly what we need." Mia tugged at Aiden's sleeve again. "Daddy, is she coming home with us?" Aiden smiled, kneeling to her level. "Not exactly, kiddo, but we might help her for a little while." Mia nodded, satisfied for now. Marcus stepped closer, his movements deliberate. "I understand this is sudden. You are not required to make a decision immediately, but time is limited. There are those who would not hesitate to strike." Aiden swallowed hard. He had spent years avoiding the chaos of the world beyond Nova Zenith, preferring a quiet life with his daughter. Yet, looking into Marcus's calm, resolute eyes, he realized that running away was not an option, not if Dr. Voss's life and possibly the future of interstellar travel was at stake. "Okay," Aiden said finally, "I'll help, but only if we do this smart, no unnecessary risks." Marcus inclined his head slightly as if acknowledging a strategic ally. "Agreed. That is why I am here." "You will not be alone." The first step was simple. Marcus needed to retrieve Dr. Voss from her current safe location, a high-security residence on the other side of the city. Aiden had only glimpsed her during the lift incident, but he remembered her confident poise and sharp eyes. Now he understood why someone of her caliber would require protection. The ride to the safe house was quiet but tense. Marcus drove with flawless precision, gliding through the crowded streets without disturbing traffic or drawing attention. Aiden couldn't help but notice the subtle details. The quiet hum of the hover limo, the shielded windows, and the way Marcus's fingers moved over the controls, fluid, almost imperceptible. It was a level of skill Aiden respected, even if he didn't fully understand it. When they arrived, the safe house appeared as an ordinary building in a quiet neighborhood. Aiden expected something ostentatious or heavily fortified, but Marcus merely nodded toward the entrance. "Appearances can be deceiving," he said, unlocking a hidden biometric panel with a swipe of his hand. The door slid open silently. Inside, Dr. Voss stood near a small table, reviewing notes displayed on a holographic panel. Her eyes lifted and she smiled faintly when she saw Aiden. "I owe you my life," she said quietly, her voice calm but carrying the weight of sincerity. "You're welcome," Aiden replied. "I'm just glad you're safe." She glanced at Marcus and then back at Aiden. "We don't have much time. Those who want my research, they won't wait. We need to prepare." Aiden nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. This wasn't just about saving someone from a malfunctioning lift anymore. It was about protecting knowledge that could change the course of the galaxy. And somehow, he, an ordinary man with an extraordinary daughter, was in the middle of it. Over the next few hours, Marcus showed Aiden the technologies at the safe house: surveillance drones, security systems, and encrypted communication devices. Aiden absorbed everything quickly, asking questions, offering suggestions, and noticing small inefficiencies that only a human mind could catch. "Most automated systems would have flagged your input as unnecessary," Marcus remarked at one point. "Yet you've already improved security in ways the system could not anticipate." Aiden shrugged. "I just think differently, I guess. Machines are smart, but they can't always see what's right in front of them." Dr. Voss smiled at him. "Exactly. That's why you're here. Humans have intuition, flexibility, and creativity. Sometimes that makes all the difference." As evening approached, Aiden and Mia returned briefly to their apartment. Aiden made dinner while Mia told him stories about her day at school. The normalcy of it was comforting, even as the knowledge of the larger danger loomed over him. That night, as he tucked Mia into bed, Aiden realized that his life had changed forever. The calm, predictable existence he had built for himself and his daughter was gone. In its place was a world of danger, mystery, and human ingenuity tested against threats far beyond the ordinary. Yet, despite the uncertainty, a sense of purpose filled him. He had saved someone once, not knowing that act would ripple into something much larger. And now he had the chance to do it again, to make a difference in a galaxy that often underestimated the power of one determined human. As he turned off the light and watched Mia drift to sleep, Aiden whispered to himself, "We'll be ready, no matter what comes." Outside, Marcus Hale stood silently near the apartment window, observing. He had found what he was looking for: a man capable, brave, and human. Someone who could tip the scales where machines and wealth alone could not. The next steps were uncertain, but one thing was clear. With Aiden Carter in their corner, hope had a chance. And somewhere across the city, eyes were watching, waiting, calculating. The game had begun. The safe house did not look like a place where danger lived. From the outside, it was just another quiet building in Nova Zenith, painted in soft gray with small balconies and dim lights. But inside, everything was tense. Aiden Carter stood near the main console, studying the security layout projected in front of him. Blue lines marked sensor zones. Red dots showed possible blind spots. The system was advanced, far better than anything he had worked with before, and yet something about it made him uneasy. "These systems are impressive," Aiden said slowly, rubbing his chin. "But they're too perfect." Marcus Hale looked at him. "Too perfect." "Yes," Aiden replied. "They assume the threat will behave logically, predictably. That's a mistake. Dr. Alara Voss stood nearby, her arms folded as she listened closely. You think someone is already planning around the system? I don't think, Aiden said. I'm sure. Marcus narrowed his eyes. Explain. Aiden tapped the holographic display, zooming in on the building's perimeter. All these defenses are automated: drones, motion sensors, pattern recognition. They work well against machines or trained professionals who follow rules. And, Alara asked, and the most dangerous people don't follow rules, Aiden said. They watch, they wait, they test. Almost as if the universe wanted to prove him right, an alarm chimed softly. Marcus turned instantly. Status report. The system responded with a calm, artificial voice. Minor disturbance detected. External sensor array recalibrating. Aiden's heart sank. That's not good. Before Marcus could respond, the lights flickered, just once, but that was enough. They're probing us, Aiden said. Not attacking, learning. Alara's face grew serious. They've found us already. Yes, Marcus said quietly, which means we are on borrowed time. Aiden straightened his shoulders. Fear tried to creep in, but he pushed it aside. He had felt this before long ago when danger was close and decisions mattered. Then we change the game, Aiden said. Marcus turned to him. What do you suggest? Aiden looked around the room. We stop relying only on machines. We add human chaos. Over the next few hours, Aiden worked nonstop. He rewired sections of the system, not to make them stronger, but to make them unpredictable. Motion sensors that randomly changed sensitivity. Drones that followed irregular paths. False data streams that showed fake activity in empty rooms. Marcus watched closely. Most people would optimize for efficiency, he said. You are doing the opposite. Because attackers expect efficiency, Aiden replied. They won't expect confusion. Alara smiled faintly. That's very human of you. Meanwhile, Mia sat in a corner with a tablet drawing pictures. Every now and then she looked up at her father. Daddy, she said, why are you making it messy? Aiden laughed softly. Sometimes messy keeps bad people confused. Oh, Mia said, nodding seriously. Like when I hide my toys. Aiden paused, then smiled wider. Exactly like that. The night deepened. Outside, the city lights shimmered like stars. Inside, tension thickened the air. Then it happened. The first real attack came without warning. The power cut out. Total darkness filled the safe house. Mia gasped. Alara froze. Marcus moved instantly, pulling a small light device from his pocket, but Aiden was already moving. Stay still, he said calmly. They want us to panic. Emergency lights flickered on, dim and red. The system voice spoke again. Multiple intrusions detected. Where? Marcus demanded. Everywhere, Aiden said. They're using swarm tactics. From the walls, small metallic shapes emerged. Insect-like drones, no bigger than a hand, crawling through vents and cracks. They bypass the main defenses, Alara whispered. Yes, Aiden said, but not the human ones. He hit a switch. Suddenly, loud noises echoed through the building. Doors slammed open and shut at random. Holograms activated, showing false images of people running in different directions. The drones hesitated. That pause, Aiden said, is all we need. Marcus drew a compact pulse weapon and fired. The drones fell, dropping lifeless to the floor, but more came. Too many, Marcus said. Not yet, Aiden replied. He grabbed Mia gently. Kiddo, remember your toy maze game? Mia nodded nervously. Good, press the green button on the tablet. She did. Instantly, floor panels shifted slightly, just enough to change walking patterns. The safe house became a maze, confusing even to machines. The drones crashed into walls, collided with each other, and lost formation. Alara stared. She helped design that. Aiden smiled briefly. She suggested it yesterday. Marcus shook his head. Remarkable, but the attackers were not done. A heavy impact shook the building. They're trying brute force now, Marcus said. Aiden frowned. That means they're desperate. Or confident, Alara added. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the system. Cold, calm. Dr. Voss, this is your final warning. Surrender your research. Alara stepped forward. You know I won't. We expected that, the voice replied, which is why we are no longer asking. Aiden clenched his fists. They want to scare us into mistakes. Then we don't make any, Marcus said. Aiden turned to him. We need to leave. This place won't hold forever. Marcus nodded. I have a secondary location. No, Aiden said firmly. That's predictable. Alara looked at him. Then what do you suggest? Aiden took a deep breath. We go somewhere no system would ever suggest. Where? Marcus asked. Aiden smiled slightly. A public place. Loud, messy, full of people. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Risky. Safe, Aiden corrected. Because they don't want witnesses. Alara thought for a moment, then nodded. He's right. The plan formed quickly. Using the confusion, they slipped out through a maintenance exit. The city welcomed them with noise, lights, and motion. Hovercars rushed by. Vendors shouted. Music filled the air. The attackers hesitated. This environment disrupts their tracking, Marcus observed. Humans blend, Aiden said. Machines stand out. They moved through the crowd, Mia holding Aiden's hand tightly. Daddy, she whispered, are we okay? Aiden squeezed her hand. Yes, we are, for now. They reached a small transit hub and boarded a public transport pod just as security drones scanned the area behind them. The doors closed. The pod lifted. Only then did Aiden allow himself to breathe. Alara looked at him with new respect. You didn't just save my life tonight, she said. You outsmarted them. Aiden shook his head. We did together, Marcus nodded slowly. I have worked with the best technology money can buy, but tonight proved something. What? Aiden asked. Marcus looked at Mia, then back at Aiden. That humans, ordinary ones, are still the most unpredictable force in the galaxy. As the pod disappeared into the glowing city, one thing was clear. The attackers had failed, but they would not stop. And now they knew exactly who stood in their way. The city lights of Nova Zenith blurred past as the pod carried Aiden, Mia, Marcus, and Dr. Alara Voss through the bustling streets. From the outside, the city seemed calm and ordinary. Shops glowed softly, pedestrians moved along walkways, and hovercars zipped silently above. But inside the pod, tension was thick. Aiden sat next to Mia, who clutched his hand tightly. She looked worried, glancing at the adults around her. Daddy, will they catch us? She whispered. Aiden smiled reassuringly, though his mind was racing. Not if we stay smart, kiddo, and right now, we are smarter than anyone chasing us. Alara leaned back, eyes scanning the city outside the pod's reinforced windows. They will keep coming, she said quietly. Those who want my research, they will not give up. Marcus, sitting opposite, nodded. And now they know your protector is not just me. They have seen the human factor. Aiden frowned. Human factor. The thing machines cannot predict, Marcus said simply. Instinct, creativity, the ability to improvise. Aiden's mind went back to the safe house, the way Mia's small hands had helped create confusion, the way he had used unpredictable patterns to mislead the drones. It was strange and humbling to hear it called a factor. The pod slowed near the edge of the city. Marcus gestured to a narrow alley. This route avoids cameras. It's risky but safer than staying on main streets. Aiden nodded. Lead the way. They exited the pod and moved quietly through the alley, keeping low and out of sight. Even here, Nova Zenith was alive. Neon signs flickered overhead, vendors shouted about last-minute deals, and small crowds meandered through the streets. It was perfect camouflage. They won't expect a place full of witnesses, Aiden whispered. Marcus gave a rare smile. Indeed, humans have a natural advantage in such environments. Machines prefer controlled zones. They reached a hidden access point to the lower transit tunnels, a network that ran beneath the city, designed for cargo but largely forgotten by daily commuters. It smelled faintly of oil and damp concrete, and the soft hum of distant engines echoed through the corridors. As they walked, Aiden noticed a pattern. Certain security cameras flickered off for brief moments, likely disabled remotely by the attackers. They were learning, adapting. "They're tracking us," Aiden muttered. Marcus nodded grimly. "Yes, and they are patient. They will wait for mistakes." Alara spoke up. "We need to reach the outpost. That is the only place my research can be safe temporarily. From there, we can plan the next steps." Aiden ran a hand over his face. "And the outpost isn't exactly next door." "No," Marcus said. "It's on the outskirts of the city and the path is risky, but it is the least predictable route. They won't expect it." The tunnels grew darker and narrower as they moved further. Aiden led the way, relying on instincts honed from years of military training. Every corner, every shadow was considered. Mia stayed close, trusting her father completely. Suddenly, a faint sound reached them, a metallic scraping followed by a soft hum. Aiden froze. "They're here," he whispered. Through the shadows, small drones emerged. Unlike the ones at the safe house, these were faster, sleeker, and more aggressive. They moved in coordinated patterns, almost like a hunting pack. Marcus raised his hand, signaling them to stop. "Do not engage directly," he said. "They are testing us." Aiden's mind raced. Direct confrontation would be dangerous, but retreat was not an option. "Follow me," he said quietly. He scanned the surroundings and noticed a maintenance hatch on the side wall. "Through there." They slipped through the hatch and Aiden pulled it closed behind them. The drones hit the wall where they had been a moment before, scanning frantically, unable to follow. "They're trying to herd us," Aiden said, "into a place they control." Alara's eyes widened. "Then we keep moving. We make our own rules." They emerged into a wide service corridor filled with pipes and vents. Aiden stopped, crouched, and studied the area. "We can use this," he said. "The vents lead to multiple exits above ground. If we split up temporarily, we can confuse them." Marcus shook his head. "I prefer coordination, but your idea has merit." Aiden smiled faintly. "Humans can do both, coordinated chaos." He took Mia's hand. "You stay close, kiddo. This part will be tricky." Together, they navigated the vents. It was tight, hot, and uncomfortable, but it gave them cover. Occasionally, a small drone would enter the vent network, but Aiden's modifications at the safe house meant some drones misread the paths and collided with walls. At one point, Mia whispered, "Daddy, I'm scared." Aiden stopped, crouched down, and looked into her eyes. "I know, kiddo, but you're brave. You've already helped save people tonight. We just need to be smart and keep moving." She nodded, gripping his hand tighter. Finally, they emerged into an abandoned market district. Rusting hovercars and broken stalls filled the streets. The area was quiet, empty, perfect for a short pause. Marcus immediately scanned for signs of pursuit. "We have a brief window," he said. Alara exhaled. "Then let's make it count." Aiden crouched and began examining the area. "We need traps, confusion, anything that slows them down if they follow." He grabbed old crates, wires, and scattered debris, creating rudimentary alarms and noisemakers. He set them strategically, imagining the path the drones might take. "Almost like setting up a game," Mia whispered, helping him place small devices. "Exactly," Aiden replied. "Humans can play the game machines can't predict." Night fell fully as they prepared to move again. The city around them glimmered faintly in neon, but the empty district offered a sense of eerie calm. Suddenly, a shadow moved across the ground. Drones. Faster than before. They had found them. "Go!" Aiden shouted. They sprinted through the streets, hopping over obstacles. Aiden noticed a pile of crates ahead and grabbed a piece of metal, launching it to create a loud crash. The drones hesitated, buying them seconds. Alara followed closely, Marcus covering the rear, and Mia stayed close to her father, racing through the chaos. Aiden led them to a narrow bridge over a canal, its water shimmering under the neon lights. The bridge creaked, but it held. As they crossed, more drones appeared, attempting to block their path. Aiden took a deep breath. "Trust me." He pressed a small device on his wrist, sending a pulse through the metal bridge. The vibration caused a temporary magnetic field that repelled the drone's sensors, giving them a narrow corridor to run. They made it across safely. On the other side, a warehouse offered temporary cover. Aiden checked the perimeter, then led the group inside. For the first time since the chase began, they were alone. Mia collapsed on the floor, breathing heavily. "Daddy, we're okay?" Aiden hugged her tightly. "Yes, kiddo. We're okay for now." Alara approached Aiden. "You are remarkable," she said quietly. "No technology could have done what you just did. Your human instincts, your creativity, you saved us." Aiden shook his head. "We saved ourselves. Humans are unpredictable." "That's our strength." Marcus nodded, his expression unreadable but approving. "Indeed, humans make mistakes, but they also improvise. That combination makes you more dangerous than any machine." The warehouse was quiet. Only the distant hum of the city reminded them that the world outside continued. Aiden sat down, holding Mia. "We need to rest, but tomorrow we plan the next move. They won't stop, but neither will we." Alara leaned against a wall, exhausted but focused. "We will need more human ingenuity. The outpost is still far, and the attackers, they learn fast." Aiden nodded. "Then we give them what they can't predict, us." The night stretched on, quiet for now, but everyone knew the danger was far from over. And as Aiden closed his eyes briefly, he understood something deep and true. In a galaxy dominated by technology, machines, and greed, humans, ordinary humans with courage, creativity, and love, could still change the course of events. Mia stirred in her father's arms, whispering softly, "Daddy, I want to help more tomorrow." Aiden smiled. "You already have, kiddo, you already have." Outside the warehouse, shadows moved silently. The attackers were patient. They would strike again. But inside, a small group of humans, ordinary, brave, and clever, prepared to face whatever came next. For in this battle, human instinct, ingenuity, and courage were the greatest weapons of all. The first light of dawn seeped through the cracked windows of the abandoned warehouse, casting long, pale stripes across the dusty floor. Aiden Carter rubbed his eyes, feeling the tension of the past days still heavy in his shoulders. Mia stirred beside him, yawning and stretching her small arms. "Daddy, is it morning?" she whispered. "Yeah, kiddo," Aiden replied, smiling faintly. "Time to get ready." Mia's eyes widened as she noticed the small gadgets, wires, and scattered pieces of metal around the warehouse. "Are we going to play the maze again?" Aiden chuckled. "Not exactly, but we'll be using our brains today, just like last night." Alara Voss stood nearby, her eyes sharp, focused. "The attackers have increased their efforts. I monitored transmissions overnight. They know where we are. They will come." Marcus Hale paced slowly, hands behind his back. "They will strike soon and in greater numbers. This is their final attempt. We cannot fail." Aiden inhaled deeply. He had never considered himself a soldier or a hero, but the past days had proven that ordinary humans could make extraordinary differences. And now everything would come down to what they could do with their wits, courage, and creativity. "All right," Aiden said, straightening up. "We need a plan. They want us to fight on their terms. We don't fight there. We make our own rules." Alara nodded. "I can provide technological support, override signals, confuse their systems, but it will only work if we act fast and smart." Aiden looked at Mia. "Kiddo, you'll stay close to me. I'll need your help too." Mia's face lit up. "Really? I can help again." "Yes, really," Aiden said, ruffling her hair. "You're part of the team." Outside, the faint hum of distant hovercrafts and drones approached. The attackers were on schedule. They were confident, but Aiden had seen their overconfidence before. "This is it," Marcus said. "Once they enter, it will be chaotic." Aiden crouched with Mia beside him, inspecting the layout of the warehouse. Broken crates, stacked metal containers, and scattered pipes offered opportunities for improvised defenses. "We'll use what we have," he said. "Every corner, every shadow will be our advantage." Alara quickly set up portable holographic projectors. "These will create false images," she explained. They'll see people where there are none. Good, Aiden said, and I'll set traps in their paths. Nothing deadly, just confusion, slowdowns, and noise. Keep them guessing. Marcus surveyed the scene. You are confident. I've learned a lot in the past days, Aiden replied. Humans are unpredictable, that's our edge. Mia held up a small noisemaker she had attached to a crate. Daddy, this will scare them, Aiden smiled. Exactly, kiddo, you're a genius. By mid-morning, everything was set. The warehouse was rigged with distractions, false images, and obstacles. Aiden, Marcus, and Alara were ready. Mia sat quietly, clutching her father's hand, excited and nervous at the same time. The first drones entered the warehouse silently. Sleek, metallic, fast-moving. They scanned the area, their sensors picking up the traps Aiden had set. Instantly, lights flickered, holograms shifted, and loud bangs echoed as crates toppled. The drones hesitated. Their programming could not anticipate the irregular patterns. Every step was uncertain. They're confused, Aiden whispered. Keep calm, wait for openings. Suddenly, more drones arrived, cutting off obvious exits. The attackers were adjusting, adapting. Aiden turned to Marcus. We need to split their attention. Now. Marcus moved to a side corridor, drawing a few drones toward him with rapid, precise movements. Alara manipulated the holograms, projecting multiple images of people running in different directions. The drones hesitated, their sensors overwhelmed. Aiden grabbed Mia's hand. Time to move. They darted through a narrow path, weaving between obstacles, ducking under beams, and dodging low-flying drones. Every turn was calculated, every movement a test of instinct. Look, Mia pointed. One drone had misread the projection and crashed into a stack of containers. She giggled. That's a kiddo, Aiden said. Keep using your head. The attackers, frustrated, began sending heavier, larger machines, drones equipped to push, break, or block their paths. But Aiden had anticipated this. He led them toward areas with unstable flooring where larger machines struggled to maneuver. Alara's voice came through a small earpiece. I've hacked the central guidance for the drones. They'll fight among themselves for a few minutes. That's your window. Aiden's mind raced. Mia, follow me closely. Watch for patterns and remember the paths. They'll try to trap us. The chase intensified. Metal clashed against metal as drones attempted to corner them. Aiden's traps worked perfectly. Crates fell, wires tripped sensors, and holograms created confusion. Every move was carefully planned but required instinct to execute. At one point, a large drone surged toward Mia. Aiden threw himself in front, pushing her out of the way. He kicked a nearby crate which toppled onto the drone, short-circuiting it. Mia's eyes were wide. Daddy, that was amazing, she shouted. Aiden grinned, though sweat streamed down his face. Teamwork, kiddo, that's what saves us. They reached a high catwalk overlooking the main floor. Below, drones struggled to adjust to the irregular layout. Aiden looked down and then at Marcus and Alara. This is it, we finish this here. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You mean fight them? Not fight, Aiden said. Outsmart, outthink. Humans do this better than machines. He directed Mia to push a few lightweight crates down. They clattered onto the drones, knocking sensors offline. Then he triggered a hidden pulley system that dropped a net over the main path, trapping several drones. Alara manipulated the holograms, projecting dozens of fake humans running in every direction. The remaining drones were overwhelmed, unable to distinguish reality from projection. Marcus smiled faintly. Impressive, pure human ingenuity. The attackers were forced to retreat temporarily. From the catwalk, Aiden, Marcus, and Alara watched as the drones pulled back, regrouping. The humans had won this encounter, but the war was not over. Alara looked at Aiden. You did more than protect me. You demonstrated something important. Humans can adapt in ways machines cannot. That's why your role matters. Aiden shook his head, humbled. We all did it together, me, Mia, you, Marcus. Humans working as one. Mia giggled. I helped too. Yes, you did, Aiden said, lifting her into his arms. And that's why we won. Marcus stepped forward. You have proven your worth beyond doubt. Human creativity and courage, unexpected, flexible, and intuitive, can achieve what the most advanced machines cannot. Alara nodded. Aiden, I want you and Mia to join our alliance. We need people like you, ordinary humans capable of extraordinary things. You saved my life and showed the potential of human instinct. Aiden looked down at Mia, who was smiling excitedly. What do you think, kiddo? Want to go on an adventure? Mia's eyes sparkled. Yes, let's save the galaxy, Daddy. Aiden laughed softly. All right, I guess life just got a lot more interesting. Marcus extended his hand. Then consider this an invitation. Together we can protect knowledge, explore new worlds, and face threats that even machines cannot predict. Aiden shook his hand firmly. Then we're in. Alara smiled warmly. Welcome to the team. Outside, the sun rose fully over Nova Zenith, casting golden light across the city. The attackers had retreated, their machines scattered. They would plan again, but the humans had proven themselves adaptable, creative, and unyielding. Aiden carried Mia on his shoulders as they walked back to the hover limo. The world felt vast and full of possibilities. For the first time, he realized that ordinary humans, brave, clever, and determined, could face dangers beyond imagination and still emerge victorious. Daddy, Mia said, pointing to the city, do you think more people will help? Aiden smiled, holding her hand. They already are, kiddo. Humans always find a way to help each other. As the hover limo lifted, carrying them toward their next adventure, Aiden felt a deep sense of purpose. Life would never be quiet again, but it would be meaningful, full of challenges, and full of chances to show the true power of humans. Because in a galaxy of advanced technology and relentless threats, the most powerful force of all was still the human spirit, courageous, creative, and unstoppable. And so, a single father, his daughter, and two extraordinary allies prepared for the next step of a journey that would take them far beyond Nova Zenith. They were no longer ordinary humans. They were a force capable of changing the galaxy, one clever, brave choice at a time.